Hello and welcome to Ultra Instinct Tarot. My name is Andres, and for this week we have a special Yu-Gi-Oh! Hello Kitty Pick-up Plush reading. Your option number 1 is Pompompurin Exodia.
Exodia, obliterate!
Option number 2 is Hello Kitty Dark Magician.
Hello, this is Kitty.
Option number 3 is Keroppi Kuriboh.
Kuriboh?
And option number 4, we have My Melody Dark Magician Girl.
I'm gonna go take a small sleep. I'm taking a nap here.
Okay, take a nap right there then.
Good night.
So channel your Ultra Instinct. Don't think about it too much. Let your body think for you. Pick your plush, and I will see you in your reading. Hello and welcome. Take a seat and relax. There's nothing you need to do in this present moment except to relax and enjoy your reading. And this is your reading if you chose Pompompurin Exodia. And to start your reading off, alright, we have number 17. Number 17 in my The Office Oracle deck. This is my Cafe Disco card. All work and no play make Michael a dull boy. So if you have been doing all work and no play, and life has been stressful and not so fun, well, it would be a good idea to include some play in your life. Especially during these times where, slavery isn't illegal, it just got changed to employment, an employee. We all deserve a little bit of fun. So this is my card of don't be like my parents. My parents, all they do is work, and their excuse is, they need money, they're doing it to support the family. But there is a thing called excessive work. There is a thing where you make excuses and you don't want to hang out with your kid because you use work as an excuse. But so all work, see, I'm being serious, right? Okay, no wonder I paused. See, I paused and I was like, I was being serious. This is when life gets too serious. So let's talk about the play. Let's talk about the fun, right? Instead of the work, the seriousness, the things that don't bring us joy. Okay, so put those aside right now because you really deserve some play. You deserve to dance. You deserve to move that body while you are having fun. Okay, this is time to do things that get you excited, right? Let's put things aside that don't bring us joy, that don't bring us excitement, that don't make us feel like a little kid again. It's the time to do things that make the time pass by extremely fast. Right, so it's like at work, you're waiting for that 5 o'clock, to hit. You're waiting. You keep looking at the time. So we want to put those things aside, and then we want to do things that make the time pass by very fast. Do things that bring us to the present moment. Do you really think you came to this place just to work and be miserable all your life? No. I don't think I did. If you did, and you're happy about that, then good for you. But if your answer is also no, well, it's time to explore. It's time to create. There's a huge world with a lot of beautiful, amazing things to see and to experience. And it's time to do those because we're only here on Earth for such a short amount of time. So let's take advantage of our time here and let's have fun with this human body, right? When you die, you won't have this human body anymore. So let's explore this human body and see what it can do. And this especially includes things that you love doing as a child, because those are the things that your soul gets most excited about. So it's time to spark that fun in yourself again. We all deserve it. That is the whole point of coming to this earth, to have fun. Yes, chase that fun and do it now. Okay, so this is the Chariot. And along with the Chariot, we have the Two of Pentacles. Okay, we have waviness here. It would be hard to steer a ship in such big waves. It would be hard to steer this human body in such big stressful movements. Would you rather be the captain of this ship and sail it on calm seas? Would you rather be captain of your human body and sail it in calm environments? In calm, peaceful environments? Or would you like some big waves, some rough seas? Would you like a lot of stress, a lot of movement, a lot of work? So the Chariot, there's two right here, right? One black, one white. They look like opposites. So this could be your heart, your emotions, and your mind, your logic. When both are not on the same page, when both are looking at different directions, it's kind of hard to navigate life. It is kind of like trying to steer a ship on big wavy, stormy waters. The way I like to see the Chariot is if you're walking two dogs. I don't know if you've ever walked two dogs before, but if one tries to go that way and the other one tries to go that way, it's kind of hard to progress. It's kind of hard to keep going on your walk because they both want to go a different way. But when both dogs are on the same page, going the same direction, you walk so fast, and you walk so much faster than you would if you didn't have any dogs. So this is your heart and your mind. Okay, they're going back and forth. They're going back and forth. The things, your emotions, right, are trying to tell you something, and then your logic tells you otherwise. Like if this is the work thing, right, your emotions are saying, hey, I don't feel good here. I would like to feel good. I would like to feel some joy. But your mind is saying, well, we can't do that because we need money to, eat food and to keep going, keep surviving. So your heart and your mind, your emotions and your logic are not on the same page. So it's kind of hard to progress at all in life. You're kind of just surviving. So I want you to sit down with yourself, okay? And maybe even write it on a page, on a piece of paper. On one side, put your heart, emotions. On the other side, put mind, logic. And then write things down for each to see what each side wants to tell you. And then compare the two. See what both sides want. Because both sides want to help you out. This is like the angel and the devil, on your shoulders. They're both telling you completely different things, but their goal is the same. They both want to protect you. They both want to see you strive. Same with your emotions and your mind. They both want to protect you. They both want to see you strive. So instead of them fighting with each other, let's be aware that they both are actually on the same page. They both really want the same thing. And let's figure out how to achieve this goal that they have, even though they're tackling it in different directions. But I'm pretty sure you will figure out a way to satisfy both. Sharing and trust. Ooh. Cool. Okay, so imagine that your emotions can see things in life that your mind can't. And I think you should trust your emotions a little more. Or at least don't set aside those emotions just because your logical mind is trying to say something. The mind is very human. The mind repeats a lot of words that you have already heard. So sometimes it's kind of hard for the mind because the mind sees it with a sort of glasses, right? Sort of opticals, a certain view that is determined by the words that you hear around you, your environment. So if we take that into account, now what information would the emotions have? Feels like your emotions want to share this light with you. Right? If God is really all love, right? Shrek is love. Shrek is life. Well, those are emotions. It's kind of hard for us to comprehend what a God would be like, right? But maybe it seems that for our emotions, it might be a little different. So which one should you listen to? Trust. Trusting is kind of an emotional push. She can't really think her way through it. She can't really think her way into trusting. Trusting kind of happens when you are silent, when that mind stops talking. And you trust and you let go. And everything becomes silent. And then you jump. And the cool thing about this is that, look, there's a pink light. There's a cool light down here that's ready to catch her. That's ready to show her so much more than what our human mind can comprehend. The Hermit. Look at that. The light is here again. That's pretty cool. And peace. 2 of Swords. Okay. Yes. That's pretty cool. Okay, so your mind, right? The swords. What do you usually do with swords? Well, you battle. Ching, 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 ching. Right? But with the 2 of Swords, there's peace here. There is a mutual agreement, right? Between 2 things. Like your emotions and your mind. Because they both want the same thing. So there is no reason to battle with someone if they really just want the same thing as you. So this is the Hermit. The Hermit is being on your own, but it's not being lonely. It's just being alone. Because for you to really understand your body, your emotions, I mean, you have to be alone so that you can listen to yourself. Instead of listening to all of the chitter chatter, right? From other people, right? Because that's what our mind uses. All of the words from our surroundings. But our emotions come from inside. They come from within. So you listen to those emotions. Even though your mind can't really comprehend, might not really comprehend. And then you go for it, and you chase after it. And you're going to progress so fast. Because both the mind and your heart want the same thing. And that's for you to strive. Peace. They both want peace. Gotta make sure that their emotions are being well taken care of. Just as well as that mind. And we do this by trusting. Okay, cool. Alright, let's get some nice bit of advice from the Office Oracle deck. We'll do that one and this one. And we have number 8. Okay. Yes, so this stress is really hard and you feel like giving up. But Michael Scott says don't give up, because triumph is right around the corner and you're gonna get there so fast. As soon as both of these things stop battling each other and get on the same page. This card is literally called Triumph. Michael has a triumph over his human body here. He was literally on the ground and he was about to give up. He said he couldn't do it until Jim talked to him a little bit, and Michael decided he wasn't going to give up. He was going to keep going. And look at that. He finished the race. He did it. He won. And this came from play. This didn't come because of your hard work. It came because of your emotions. It came because of that joy. It came because of that godly love that is within you, that is within all of us. And did I stutter? I really hope this reading helped. If it did help, please help me as well by leaving a like, by leaving a comment, and subscribing if you would like to keep hanging out, as this is a safe place where we try to figure life out together. So I thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace. Hello and welcome. Take a seat and relax. There is nothing you need to do in this present moment except to relax and enjoy your reading. And this is your reading if you chose Hello Kitty Dark Magician. And to start your reading off, we have number 25. This is Professor Copperfield's Miracle Legumes. But with this card, we focus in on Dwight. And Dwight, he had nothing at the beginning. All he had was a thumbtack. But with that thumbtack, he did with what he had. And he ended up with the giant telescope that he eventually traded for some Miracle Legumes. But he didn't have much. All he had was a thumbtack. So if you don't have much right now, do not worry. Just do with what you have, and you will eventually find yourself with a big giant telescope, whatever that is for you. And I love this card because it has a magic within it. There's magic within you. Only with magic can a seed grow into a beautiful flower. Only with magic can these Miracle Legumes grow into a big flower within a day. So as soon as you set the story aside, right, or your victimness aside, and instead focus on what you have and do with what you have, and you keep going, I promise you it's going to be very quickly that you run into those Miracle Legumes when you run into that telescope. Because you don't need any fancy equipment, you don't need fancy tools right now. You just need whatever it is that you have. Okay, cool. Yep. And the Queen of Cups. Okay. So the Queen of Cups, the cups are of the emotions. And we have the Six of Swords. The swords are of the mind. The Queen is like Mother Nature, a loving mother that includes everyone. Right? Mother Nature doesn't exclude anyone. She includes everyone. So include all of your emotions, include all of those emotions, even those that you don't think you need. Do with what you have. Your emotions can lead you towards that telescope. Even if you have literally nothing, if you have your emotions, you can grow those into a giant telescope. All you need to do is make sure you are taking care of them like a loving mother would. And nurture those emotions. And that's one of the big reasons why we became human. Is for us to understand our emotions and for us to use that analytical mind. See, so the Six of Swords. Swords we said is of the mind. There are some wavy, rough waters back here. But this family is leaving them behind for some calm waters. Now imagine in your mind, I'm sure you have anxiety. I'm sure it's kind of hard and difficult to be in control of that mind. And that's probably the problem, is that you think your mind needs to be controlled. You know, how does a parent, not a loving parent, but how does a parent control their kids, you know, by, authority. But we don't need authority here in this situation. We need a loving mother that would incorporate the child, that would nurture the child, take care of it, love it for what it is. And that is how you should be treating yourself. And that anxiety is going to slowly slip away because you're leaving this anxiety territory into a more peaceful and calm mind. But that mind only came because you learned to take care of those emotions. You learned to listen to those emotions. I've noticed within myself that anxiety is a thing, you know, when those thoughts just keep bang, 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 and they won't leave. Well, it's because we aren't listening to them. Our emotions are having something to say and they manifest in your mind. And the more you stop listening to them, the more they're going to knock on the door. So as soon as I started listening to my emotions and I started taking care of those emotions, if I felt horrible, if someone close to me did something that made me feel like shit, instead of just being, well, that's okay, I understand them, you know, that's okay. No, I started saying something. Hey, this didn't make me feel good. And a lot of the times, I didn't get positive feedback, you know, especially some people like my parents, they tell me, well, you change. If you feel that way, you change, you know. But I'm telling you this, you know, this was me to my parents. I was like, I'm telling you this because I don't want you to keep treating me that way. Because I kept brushing the dirt under the rug, but I kept tripping over that rug. So as soon as I finally started saying my emotions out loud to the people that were affecting them, that dirt started going away. It started going outside. I started nurturing those emotions. And my mind followed. It became more calm. It became more peaceful. Instead of my thoughts just being bang, 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 bang. It's not that I didn't have any more thoughts. I noticed that I started singing in my head a lot more. Instead of having those rough thoughts that just kept beating me up, you know. My thoughts just became singing. Started singing random songs and stuff. So within myself, it became more enjoyable, just like these calm waters. And you're heading straight towards this. You're already on your way there. You're already on your way to those miracle legumes. Integration. Yes. And fighting. Okay. Yep. See, look at that. There's two opposites, your emotions and then your mind. And they're fighting each other. When really, we got to integrate both of them. I literally just, okay, this is literally just a repetition of this. How cool is that? But with different cards. Here, I'll read this integration for you. So you can see what to look out for, what direction, you know, is the right direction to keep heading towards. What is this, number 14? All right, the image of integration is the Unio Mystica, the fusion of opposites. This is a time of communication between the previously experienced dualities of life. Rather than night opposing day, dark suppressing light, they work together to create a unified whole, turning endlessly one into the other, each containing in its deepest core the seed of the opposite. Yeah, see, if your emotions aren't being listened to, it's going to manifest within your mind. And then your mind treating you poorly is going to manifest in your emotions. And then it's going to keep going. The eagle and the swan are both beings of flight and majesty. The eagle is the embodiment of power and aloneness. The swan is the embodiment of space and purity, gently floating and diving upon and within the element of the emotions, entirely content and complete within her perfection and beauty. We are the union of eagle and swan, male and female, fire and water, life and death. The card of integration is the symbol of self-creation, new life, and mystical union, otherwise known as alchemy. It says the conflict is in man. Unless it is resolved there, it cannot be resolved anywhere else. The politics is within you. It is between the two parts of the mind. A very small bridge exists. If that bridge is broken through some accident, through some physiological defect or something else, the person becomes split. The person becomes two persons. And the phenomenon of schizophrenia or split personality happens. If the bridge is broken and the bridge is fragile, then you become two. You behave like two persons. In the morning you are loving, very beautiful. In the evening you are very angry, absolutely different. You don't remember your morning. How can you remember? Another mind was functioning, and the person becomes two persons. If this bridge is strengthened so much that the two minds disappear as two and become one, then integration, then crystallization arises. What Georgiev used to call the crystallization of being is nothing but these two minds becoming one, the meeting of the male and the female within, the meeting of yin and yang, the meeting of the left and right, the meeting of logic and illogic, the meeting of Plato and Aristotle. Right? Do with what you have. These emotions and the mind, as soon as you resolve that conflict within, you are heading straight towards something amazing. The Seven of Wands, Valor, and the Ace of Cups. Cool. The Seven of Wands. The wands are about movement. And the Ace of Cups. The aces are all about potential. And the cups, we said, are about the emotions. So think about the potential that Dwight had with a thumbtack. I would have assumed that not much potential. Yeah, it has nothing, right? But that's the cool thing about having nothing, is that you can go any direction you want. There is no trauma. There is no experience. There is nothing that's stopping you from going wherever direction it is you want, right? You're right in the middle of the circle and you can go wherever. The Seven of Wands. What is the Seven of Wands? So this is another book I absolutely love. And I think we're just going to go to the back of it for divinatory meanings about the Seven of Wands. Because we were talking about potential. So this is the potential of movement. Wow. And then look at that first word on the Seven of Wands. Opposition, yet courage. We were just talking about opposition. Imagine what potential those two opposites have as soon as they stop fighting and they start working together. It says possible victory, depending on the energy and courage exercised. Valor. Opposition, obstacles and difficulties, yet courage to meet them. Quarreling, ignorance, Some threatening. Also, victory and small and unimportant things and influence upon subordinates. Okay, so victory in small and unimportant things, right? I don't know if you've watched The Office, but it's in this episode, I mean, it took a lot of trading on Dwight's part, a lot of small victories that led him to that telescope. You know, he had a thumbtack and he started out with, I don't remember if it was Meredith, but her sign was crooked, you know. So he said, hey, I have this thumbtack and your sign won't be crooked anymore. And he was able to trade that, use that to his advantage, and get something else that somebody else would love, and then he gave them that and traded it for something else. So very small victories. He didn't get to its telescope in one hit. He had very small victories, and with that, he had so much potential. Two oppositions coming together. Your emotions and your mind. And they can lead you to many small victories. Where there is a giant telescope at the end of it. Cool. Alright, we'll get some last bit of advice from the Office Oracle deck. Cool. Number 29. This is my few word do trick. Kevin says, why waste time? Say lot word when few word do trick. Save time, more success. Alright, yep. 19. Okay, this makes sense. So this is my 18. This is about today is about today. Today is just about having today. Things might take a long time, but then they're perfect. Right? Yeah, imagine Dwight, every trade was about that trade. He didn't know that he was going to end up with a telescope, but he knew that as long as within each trade, you know, he would get a good deal out of it. He knew he was going to get something. He knew there was potential there. So this is saying to trust. Even though you might not be a big win, a lot of small wins is going to lead you to that big win. A lot of small wins equals a big win. So this is about patience. So if you have patience, all right, have patience. But then, if you have patience, that means you are still waiting for something that is not happening. All right, you are being patient because you want something that's not there at the moment. So go one step further than patience. Let go of that patience. A person with no patience is completely here today. They do not wait for anything, as there is nothing to wait for. Today is already here. Everything that is happening is supposed to be happening, and we are in no rush. Right? They are in no rush. They're in calm waters. Today is just about having today. Why say that word when few word do trick? I really hope this reading helped. If it did help, please help me as well by leaving a like, a comment, and subscribe if you would like to keep hanging out, as this is a safe place where we try to figure life out together. So thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace. Hello and welcome. Take a seat and relax. There is nothing you need to do in this present moment except to relax and enjoy your reading. And this is your reading if you chose Keroppi Kuriboh. Oh, that fell out, so I'm going to leave it there. I didn't see what it was. But to start your reading off, we have number 3. Interesting. This is my Divine Influence card. So just like this card just jumped right out. Alright, life is going to do the same with you. Something is going to pop right out. There's going to be some movement that's not in your control. And it's divine influence. So in this scene, right, Dunder Mifflin, this Grand Branch was about to be closed down. And so Michael and Dwight decided to do something about it. And instead of just letting it happen, they wanted to do something about it. So they went to David Wallace's house. And they were out there and they were gonna talk to him, try to get him to change his mind. But the funny thing is that David Wallace never showed up. They did something, but what they did had nothing to do. It didn't influence at all the outcome. But either way, their branch was still saved. Things that were out of their control happened, and those things that happened managed to somehow save the branch. So right now, your mindset is the thing that you can control and that most matters, because life will help you out with the rest of it. So make sure that your mindset is that of Michael and Dwight's here, where something was going on, something wrong was happening, and they want to do something about it. This doesn't mean that, and if this thing that you do about it doesn't work, don't worry. The most important part was that you wanted to do something about it. That you took action, even though it had nothing to do with what was going on, right? So, for example, say, you look at this world, you see that it's on fire and there's so many things going wrong. Well, your mindset is very important. So it's not like only one person can manage to save everything that is going on or help with everything that is going on. But as long as you do with what you're in control over, as long as there's effort and focus in what you do, that is what matters. And then you just trust in your magic, divine influence. And as long as a lot of people think that way, have an effort and focus towards a sort of change, towards saving something that is going to be closed down, well, life will help. Just the same way as it's kind of crazy how many things had to go right for us to be able to be on this planet. That was the divine influence. We had nothing to do with it. We weren't in control. We aren't in control of the sun. But somehow, some way, life found a way, a somehow. So focus on your effort. Focus on the things that you can control. And life will somehow find a way. Temperance, nice. This is creating card. Okay, so you are one side, one of these cups, and life is the other cup. And as long as both of them are in effort, are trying, life will find a way to create. Life will find a path. Queen of Pentacles, and the Pentacles are of the material, of the things that you can see. The Pentacles are the result. Just like you are the result of, two people. And the Queen is like the Mother Nature. The Queen is the nurturing mother. The Queen is the one that takes care and includes. The Queen doesn't have boundaries, she includes. We are talking about pentacles here, so of the things that you can see. So the things that are close to you, around you, that you can personally see with your eyes, not on your phone. Make sure you are taking care and nurturing that. And that will ripple out eventually to the things that you can't see, to the things that are far away. And one by one, cup by cup, there will be a change. So the cool thing about this Temperance card is that she's got one foot in the water and one foot on the earth, on the land. This is saying you do your part. Life will help, and life will do their part as well. Right, the micro and then the macro. The small and the big. And then when both are doing their parts, magic is allowed to happen. Creation is allowed to happen. Divine influence. Projections. Okay. New vision. Yes. Okay, so projections. Say you are projecting not this creating type of vibe, not this effort that Michael and Dwight had. You are projecting, sadness, anger, destruction. Well, life is gonna follow your lead and also will destroy, and it's not gonna cooperate if you don't cooperate, because life is a projection of yourself. That's why this new vision is here, because we need a new vision, a new projection to put out onto the world. A projection more like this Queen of Pentacles, projection of more of a nurturing and taking care of the things around us, and it'll be a wave. And then life will do their part as well. New vision. I don't get this one a lot. This is Major Arcana number 12. So the tarot has major and minor arcanas. Minor arcanas are things that we are in control over, like this 7 of Cups, this projections, our vision towards the world. Because life is a mirror, right? So it's just going to mirror back whatever projection you put out onto it. Just like if you look at yourself in the water on a lake, well, that water is just going to project yourself back at you. And those are the minor arcana, the things that we are in control over, the things that we do. And then there are major arcana, which is this Temperance and this New Vision card. And the major arcana are things that we are not in control over, right? Like the sun shining, we aren't in control over that. Night becoming day, day becoming night, we aren't in control over that. When it rains outside, the weather, we aren't in control over the weather, but we are in control of putting on a jacket when it's cold outside. So there's this new vision that we are coming across that will help project itself onto life, and then life will project it right back. Maybe that's why we are where we are right now. Because the projection of the people before us was distorted, was not in a loving and nurturing manner. So life projected that back. Okay, so this New Vision card, this Major Arcana, the thing that is happening that we can react to, like in chess, right? You are either the white pieces or the black pieces. When it's your turn, you make your move. But then you can't make the move of the opponent. You gotta wait to see what they do, and then you can react back. And those are the projections that this reading is talking about. So number 12, New Vision. The figure on this card is being born anew, emerging from his earthbound roots and growing wings to fly into the unbounded. The geometric shapes around the body of the figure show the many dimensions of life simultaneously available to him. See these different projections that are available to you. The square represents the physical, which is this Pentacles. The manifest, the known, which is this Pentacles. The circle represents the unmanifest, the spirit, pure space, which kind of feels like this Temperance card, this divine influence, the divine. And the triangle symbolizes the threefold nature of the universe, manifest, unmanifest, and the human being who contains both. Now you are presented with an opportunity to see life in all its dimensions, from the depths to the heights. They exist together, and when we come to know from experience that the dark and the difficult are needed just as much as the light and easy, then we begin to have a very different perspective on the world. By allowing all of life's colors to penetrate us, we become more integrated. This is like, you can't really know heat if you don't know cold. You can't really know night when you don't know day. You can't really know love if you don't know hate. The Princess of Wands and the Seven of Wands, which is Valor. Valor talks about victory, but victory only when two opposing forces start working together. Two opposing forces start working together. You and life start working together, right? This projection that you give to life, and then life's response to that projection. Michael and Dwight taking action to save their branch, and life responding by creating circumstances that happened to save that branch. So we talked about the minor, and this is a minor arcana. The Seven of Wands is movement that you can do, like Michael and Dwight, and then life response with this new vision, this temperance card. It's all it takes is a little bit of your effort and a little bit of your focus, and magic is allowed to happen. So now we didn't talk about the Queen of Pentacles and the Princess of Wands. So these are court cards. To me, these are, say, this is you, a circle, and then each section is a different personality trait that you have, right? So a person can be a teacher, a person can be a father, a mother, the person can also be a son or daughter. A person can be a musician, and all of these different sides are the same person, and all of these different sides are showing you a different part of that same person, of different characteristics. Different skills are involved in each of those, but it's all the same person. And that is what these court cards are. Your different characteristics that you have, that we all have. That's the same with all the zodiac signs. I'm a Pisces. That just means I have more stat points in the Pisces, part of the circle. And that doesn't mean that I don't have all of the other zodiac signs within me as well. So it's the same with these court cards. When these court cards pop up, it's this reading telling me, hey, we should start embodying and start using these certain characteristics, because that's going to be what helps in the situation. Right? So it's different tools that we have, that each different tool can be useful in certain situations, and they're not going to be useful in other situations. So this Queen of Pentacles popped up first, but we already talked about that. So this Princess of Wands is telling me what kind of energy we should embody, what kind of characteristics we should be showing to the world at this moment. And we talked about the wands. So wands are about movement. Wands are of the soul. Wands is like the inner child of yours. It doesn't go away when you become an adult. So wands are all about movement, the soul, right? The soul is eternal. If you have a fire, and say I have a candle here with a fire, even though that candle is still, that fire keeps on moving, and it doesn't stop moving. So same with our soul. It keeps on moving, and it doesn't stop moving. When you go to sleep, sometimes your soul starts dreaming, right? There's still movement even though your body is still and isn't moving. And the princess is this new type of energy, the way kids tackle adventures, the way kids tackle new things, right? Compared to when an adult tackles new things and new adventures. Adults would rather keep their pattern that they've been living. They don't like new things because they make mistakes, and adults aren't allowed to make mistakes. But kids don't care if they make a mistake, right? Take a baby, for example. When a baby learns how to walk, a baby's gonna not learn how to walk right away. He's gonna make a lot of mistakes. He's gonna fall down over and over and over and over again. But does that baby care? Does that baby treat itself bad because it keeps making a mistake? No, the baby just sees that people around it can walk, so why shouldn't I be able to? And even though it falls over and over and over again, it knows that is possible. You know, it has a vision of itself walking. So it's going to fall over and over and over again, but it knows that eventually it's going to catch on and it's going to learn how to walk. So Princess of Wands. Now mix the two, right? Princess, that new type of energy, tackle any situation without being afraid of making mistakes, because you're obviously going to be making mistakes. Right, Michael and Dwight, they probably would have been making mistakes, but did they think about making a mistake? No. Their focus was towards, we got to save the branch. They didn't care if they were going to make mistakes or not. And Wand, this is movement. This is the reason to get out of your house. This is, right, this is like your job. Why? Because it's movement, you know, ways. The reason, what do you think the reason is that you left home, that you left God, right, to become a human? Well, let's chase after that reason. Let's find out what that reason is, that's gonna be projected onto the world, and life will respond. So Princess of Movements. So let's do some movement. Let's tackle this adventure, even though we're most likely gonna make mistakes because it's something new. And let's tackle it with the inner child of yours. The inner child that probably has something to say at this moment. Your inner child is the one that knows. The inner child deep in there knows why they left God, why they left home to become a human in the first place. So think of something that you've been wanting to do ever since you were a kid. And even though you're an adult and you have your patterns and you have your safety net, it's time to figure out what that passion is. Because that passion, even though it might be something small, even though it might have nothing to do with what's going on in the world today, that something small is going to create a ripple that will help make this place a much better place. So let's get some last bit of advice from The Office Oracle deck to finish off this reading. Number 40. Okay, yes. Cool. This is the Good Old Days card. Here's a quote from Nardog. He said, "I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them. So take a pause, look around, and enjoy the moment. Look at everything around you and just take it all in. Enjoy the good old days while you're still in them, because next thing you know, the good old days will be long gone. You know, we are all going to die. So now, since we're all eternal and have a soul, our soul is going to look back and be like, damn, I wish I knew those days of being a human were so good and that I stressed myself out more than I should have. But thanks to Andy, we know that we are in the good old days. So let's enjoy every single second of them with everything that you have. Yeah, there's more to life than what meets the eye. So this is my deception card, but I'm not getting any deception here. This card is also just saying that something is hidden, that things don't seem the way that they seem. Right? Divine influence, something bigger. There's something bigger out there that is responding to the projection that we give out to the world. So take a pause. This is a moment to take a pause, take in everything around you, and then let's start moving. Let's start chasing that inner child passion that you've had for such a long time. So keep an eye out, because there's magic happening at this moment. There is divine influence happening at this moment. Alright, so I really hope this reading helped. If it did help, please help me as well by giving a like, by writing a comment, and by subscribing if you would like to keep hanging out, as this is a safe place where we try to figure life out together. So thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace. Hello and welcome. Take a seat and relax. There is nothing you need to do in this present moment except to relax and enjoy your reading. And this is your reading if you chose My Melody Dark Magician Girl. So welcome. And to start your reading off, we have card number 40. This is the last card in my deck. This is the good old days. For this card, in this scene, we have a quote from Nardog, from Andy Bernard. And he says, I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them. So take a pause, look around, and enjoy the moment. Take it all in and enjoy the good old days while you're still in them. Because next thing you know, the good old days will be long gone. But thanks to Andy, we know the good old days are here. So enjoy every single second of them with everything that you have. Beautiful. Ooh. Ooh. Interesting. So I started out by saying beautiful because you have the lovers here. It's card number 6. In the Tree of Life, the 6 is the home of the guardian angel. So this isn't about a human lover. This is about your first love, which is yourself. You can never forget about your first love. So if we all have a guardian angel, if we all have that soul that decided to come be a human, and that soul is his guardian angel. So take dating for example, right? People date a couple people throughout their lives, looking for the perfect one, looking for their soulmate, looking for their significant other. Now imagine your soul is doing the same thing. Imagine incarnating, if reincarnation is a thing, your soul is reincarnating in this human body, and then in this human body, and then in this human body. Until, at one point, the soul says, yep, this human body is the one for me. And then that human body, that soul, decides to go home. The soul decides that it doesn't want to date around anymore. It chose its lover. It chose its soulmate, its counterpart. And what's the point of dating around after you found your other half? So the lovers, you cannot forget about your first love, and that is yourself. And the lovers is paired with the moon. When can we fully see the moon? At night, when it's at the most dark. We can see the light of the moon. So this gives the energy of, you can't really know love until you know hate. You can't really know the light until you know the darkness. You can't really know what the highest of the high is without knowing the lowest of the low. And if, heaven, God, is the highest of the high, earth is that lowest of the low. We have Adam and Eve here. Adam and Eve couldn't have known that they were in paradise because they didn't know any other thing. They didn't have anything to compare it to. Paradise is all that they have known all of their lives. So to know that paradise, to understand that paradise, something needed to go wrong. To know perfection, one must know imperfection. So that is why they took a bite of the apple, to understand. And that bite of the apple is the lowest of the low, right? And that is earth, the lowest of the low. So they came down to earth to know the lowest of the low, to eventually go back up. And what a difference it is going to be being in the highest of the high from before and after. So you can't know heat without cold, can't know light without dark, can't know high without a low. Sorrow and friendliness. Okay? Same kind of deal. You have the 9 of clouds here. The 9 of the mind, the 9 of swords. Paired with the 2 of cups. Friendliness. 2 of cups is that love. Again. Here, I'm gonna fix this. See, I only know to fix this. And by fixing, I just mean I'm gonna pair them. Right? We have good, and then we have dark, light and dark, right? Good and bad. But bad is equally as necessary, because without it, we wouldn't know the good. Without sorrow, we wouldn't know what friendliness is. Without sorrow, we wouldn't know what love is. Without this moon, without the darkest times, we wouldn't know where the light is. The good old days. We wouldn't know the good old days without going through some bad days as well. Notice how Nardog had to look back, and now he's leaving this place. And he feels sorrowful about it. He feels sadness leaving all of these wonderful people that he met. He feels sorrow now that he's been away from them. So, knowing that sadness when he was away from his family got him to understand that those days with his Dunder Mifflin Flammy were the good old days. But he only understood them because he had something to compare it to. We know this is yellow. We know this is pink. But if they looked the same, we wouldn't know that there was a difference. So they paired together, right? Like heads and tails, 2 sides of the same coin. Good and bad. Together. How cool is that too? There's 2 here, there's 2 here, there's 2 here. And there's sorrow when there's only 1. The Knight of Swords with the Ace of Cups. Interesting. So the quote cards are all different characteristics that we all embody. But just as anything else, some are better at using some characteristics than others. Doesn't mean you aren't able to use those characteristics that you're bad at. It just means you need to work a little harder to better use those characteristics. And that's paired with the Ace of Cups. The Ace cards are all about potential. There is all potential because they're at the 0. They include everything. Everything is possible with the Aces. And the Cups are the emotions. So it's kind of like this roller coaster that we're going on. And then when you get off the roller coaster, you finally understand why all of these emotions existed in the first place. Now you have so much potential, because you're not going to be, you know, filled with sorrow or stuck on a high or stuck on a low. You're going to just enjoy that whole roller coaster and know that all of those highs and lows had a purpose. So the swords are of the mind, your thoughts. And I think I'm going to take a reading from this Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot. And we're going to see what these characteristics of the Knight of Swords are, so that we can look to embody them to better understand what's going on here. So the Knight of Swords is the fire of air. Swords are the suit of air. And as we begin our examination of these cards, I must point out a design motif that appears repeatedly on all the cards of this suit. And that's wings. Lady Harris incorporates angular and highly stylized wings everywhere. They may not always look like wings, but that is what they are. Interesting. All of these bad things that happen might not look like bad things, but that is what they are. They are also good things. Beginning with the Knight of Swords, we see what appear to be 4 propeller blades spinning atop his pointed helmet. And they are actually 4 triangular wings sprouting from his back. They are transparent and veined like those of a dragonfly. Perhaps there are only 2 wings that are moving so fast that they appear as 4. Please take a moment and look at the Queen, Prince, and Princess of Swords, and you'll notice that they all have angular wings on their figures. Now, if you look at all the small cards of the suit and see the backgrounds festooned with these stylized wings, some balanced, almost pinwheel in form, some twisted, broken, stretched, and distorted. See, we can only compare them, because they're all different as well. But they're all necessary if we want to understand them all. It has been suggested that these figures represent magical sigils drawn from planetary kamiyas or magical squares. Anyone familiar with the extent, or should I say limits, of Lady Harris's magical education at the time would not even suggest such a thing. So the Knight of Swords is fire of air, suggestive of a violent wind. The general divinatory meaning of the card can be summed up in one word: attack. The moral qualities of person thus indicated, Crowley warned, are activity and skill, subtlety and cleverness. He is fierce, delicate, and courageous, but altogether the prey of his idea, which comes to him as an inspiration without reflection. So we'll take a look at the divinatory meaning on the back, so you can get a couple more key words to understand this Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords is active, clever, subtle, fierce, delicate, courageous, skillful, but inclined to domineer. Also to overvalue small things, unless well dignified. If ill dignified, deceitful, tyrannical, and crafty. All of these characteristics definitely one needs, as like for a soul to choose to become a human, knowing everything that happens down here. Definitely need to embody all of those characteristics. Especially to see the lowest of lows as the good old days. Because ultimately life is what we make of it. We can get stuck in the moon, we can get stuck in the darkness, we can get stuck in the sorrow. Or we can create, that's what alchemy is all about. Creating all of this negative and creating it into a positive, transforming it into a positive, transforming into seeing that life is what it is. Knowing to appreciate these times. Because, Andy wasn't really having a good time during his good old days, right? He had some bad times, but when he looked back, he knew it was all necessary. He knew that's where he belonged. Your soul is right where it belongs. The cool thing about puzzles and riddles and everything is that we don't know the answer. But we eventually figure it out. And how fun is that? To not know something and then to know something. That's why you, as a god, knower of all things, decided to become this puny little human who doesn't know much. Because how fun is it to figure life out? Alright, and we are gonna get some last bit of words from the Office Oracle deck. And we start with number 3. This is my Divine Influence card. This says, do not give up. This says, keep going. Don't get stuck on those highs and don't get stuck on those lows. Your effort and your focus is what matters. So just be you, do what you do, and trust in your magic. Because life has your back. You will figure this out. And number 21. This is the perfect way to end this reading, for sure. Right, enjoy the good old days, okay? He didn't know he was in the good old days. And this card is My Grass is Always Greener. This is when Michael, being manager, right? And then they switched companies into Saber. And they both noticed that you make a lot more money as a salesman. So Michael decided to be a salesman so they can make more money. So Jim ended up being manager. But Michael was out there and he wasn't as happy. He said, you know what's funny? I used to stand in here and wish I was out there. Now I'm out there and I wish I was in here. And Jim says, the grass is always greener. Michael says, except there's no grass out there. Right? That was a low. But without that, he wouldn't have realized, hey, even though I will make less money, being a manager is where I really want to be. That is his love, right? And so eventually he went back as manager, and you should have seen how happy he was, right? When he was back in the office manager's chair. So that is why, bad things happen is a good thing. Because then it's very obvious where the good old days are. And I really hope this reading helped. If it did help, please help me as well with a like, a comment, and subscribe if you would like to keep hanging out, as this is a safe place where we try to figure life out together. So thank you so much for being here. I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.